Welcome to our lesson on addition, and in this lesson we'll be showing you how to carry when adding. Okay, now here, as I've said before, when adding, one of the most quickest ways to add is to use the place value system. Okay, so just let's quickly pull up the place value chart just to show you what we're talking about. Okay, here's my place value chart. Now we are asked in the question to find the sum of 185 and 79. Now I'm just going to represent these numbers on my place value chart by putting them in their respective columns. Now if you notice, first number I have here is 185, but however when adding it, the order doesn't matter in which you add. I must mention that. Okay, but first I'm going to represent my 185 in my place value chart. Now if you notice, the 5 is to the extreme right, so the digit that is to the extreme right usually goes in my units column. Then that would be followed by my the second digit there, which is the 8 in the middle. That would go in my tens column. Okay, and the 1 would go in my hundreds column. All right, so that's how I would represent that. Since I'm adding, I'm going to write the next number below that. So I have 79. If you notice, again, the 9 is to the extreme right, so I'm going to place the 9 in the units column, and then I'm going to place my 7 in the tens column. All right, so this is how we would represent it on the place value system chart. Let me just quickly run through it, maybe how you would have learned it at school. I'm just going to run through it using that method, and then I show you the concepts behind it. Okay, so for example, in class your teacher may have said calculate the sum of 185 and 79. So you would have written it like that, 185, and then you would have your 79 below there, 79. Let me just correct that. So here, really, what you would have said, you would have said, I'm adding, so let me put my plus sign. So you would have said 5 plus 9, or 9 plus 5. We know 9 plus 5 would give us 14. Okay, so for example, you could call yourself 9, and then you could add 5 fingers to that, and you would get a total of 14. So you know that the 14 that you got, for example, the 4, if you notice, the 4 is to the extreme right. So in this case, since we are in the units column, the number to the extreme right would go in that respective column, which is the units column. Okay, and then this 1 we would carry it to the tens column. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to leave the 4 in the units column, and then you carry the 1 to the tens column like that. Okay, now we're going to be adding these numbers again in the tens column rather. All right, so we have carried the 1 to the tens column, so let's add the digits in the tens column. Here I have a 7, and as I've said before, when adding, the order doesn't matter. Here I have a 7 down here, and I have a 1 up top, so I can say 7 plus 1 would give me 8, and then I have another 8 here, so I can say 8 plus 8 would give me 16. See there? Let me just make a quick note here. We added 7 plus 1 plus the 8. Okay, that's what we added in the units column. So this gave us a total of 16. Okay, now again, since we are in the tens column, we know that the 6 would go in that respective column. So the 6 would go in the tens column, and that's because the digits that we have just added were the digits in the tens column. And then now the 1, we would have to carry the 1 to the hundreds column. Okay, we would have to carry the 1 to the hundreds column. So I would leave the 6 in the tens column, and then I would have to carry the 1 to the hundreds column. So really, what I have left here is in my hundreds column. To add this now, I would say 1 plus 1, and that would give me 2. So my answer for this sum of 185 and 79, my answer would be 264. So that's just looking at it, just basically something that you may have learned, or some students are not sure, so they ask me to help them understand this topic a little bit better. Now, if you should remember, earlier we did some lessons on the values of a number, and of a digit rather, and we said a digit has 3 values. A digit has a face value, it has a place value, and it has a value. Okay, let's say, for example, just taking a digit, for example, let's say the 8 here. in 185. The face value of the 8 would be what you're seeing, the 8. Okay, when you look at the digit, what you see is the face value. So 8 would be the face value. And the place value, you would look what place the 8 is located in the base 10 system or the place value chart, and it's located in the tens column. So the place value would be 10, and the value now check this out. The value of the 8 would really be the face value times multiplied by the place value would really equals to the value of the number. Okay, so here the value of the number 8 times 10 would give us 80. Okay, so this 8 in the tens column is really 80. That's the true value of that number. Okay, so let me just show you quickly another way of looking at this. So here, based on what we have just done here, if you should look at the ones, you could say this one is 1 times 100. Okay, the face value is 1 times 100, so this is really 100. So I'm really saying 100 plus, and this is the one here, and I am saying 8 now. This 8, we have looked at it a while ago, and it is 80 plus 80. Okay, plus 5 times 1 in the ones column would give me 5. So really this is 185, which we have up top here, 185. So we're saying 185 is being added to, and we can draw a line now, and I could say here I have 9 ones, so I could say 9 times 1, since I'm in the ones column. 9 times 1 would give me 9. Okay, and then I could say here, moving over to my tens column, there's a 7 there, so I could say the face value of my 7 is 7 multiplied by the place value 10 would give me 70. So I'm adding to that 70. Okay, and it's like that. So let me just pull this up a bit, because I believe we're going to be needing a little bit more space. And guys, it's pretty fun to look at a problem multiple ways or many different ways. It really helps you to understand the content of what is happening. Okay, so let me just pull this over a bit to get a little bit more space. All right, let's just leave it right there. Now, what is really happening here is that I am saying 9 plus 5 again would give us 14. So this 14, let me just change the color quickly. So this 14 here that I got, 14 is really equal to 14 is, let me just pull this down a bit. Let me just pull this over a bit so we can get a little bit more space. The 5 plus the 9 would give us a 14. And 14 is really 10 plus 4. Okay, so I'm saying 14 is the same as I have 1 10 and 4 units. Okay, so the 4 units that I have here, and look how I'm going to write this now. I am going to leave the 4 here. So I'm going to leave my 4 there, and now my tens, I have to take the tens to the tens column, because if you notice the 8t and the 7t, okay, it has to go in the tens column, so I have to bring my 10 to this column here. So I'm placing the 10 in the tens column. So here now I am adding to that 70 plus 10 would give me 80, and now I would have 80 plus 80 if you look at it like that. Alright, so I would have 80 plus 80, that would give me 160. So here now in my tens column, when I've added my tens column, I really got 160. But 160 again, this is 100 plus 60 tens. Okay, so I have 100 plus 60 tens. That's the same as 160. So again, whatsoever is the tens, it should fall in my tens column. So I'm going to have to leave the 60 tens in my, the 6 tens rather, in my tens column, which is 60. And then again, I'm going to have to add, but this 100 now, the 100 to my left, I'm going to have to carry it to the hundreds column, okay, because I have to match hundreds with hundreds. Now here in my hundreds column, really what I have left here is 100 plus 100 would give me 200, okay, and that's it. And that's how we carry. Okay, that's just a general concept behind it. Now if you should look at this carefully, guys, you would have realized then that 200 plus 60 would be 260, and 260 plus 4 would be 264. So this is the same thing as we had gotten earlier. So my answer is the same, 264, as how we had gotten over here. Okay, see, both answers match. Okay, so that's it. Feel free to leave a comment or a question if you're still not sure, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Bye bye.